Let's go!
Welcome to the 1.7 podcast, the place where creatives get to speak the truth about ourselves, our art, and our place in the world. What's up, everybody? This is Ryan Daniel. Welcome to the 1.7 podcast.
Yo.
Listen, I've got a great show today. The man, the myth, the legend, right here, Ben Obi.
Yo.
So, what's up, man?
What's up? Savannah Street in the house.
Savannah Street in the house. So, let me introduce this guy to you. Ben Obi. I've known him for a long time. He's worked on a lot of my records. This guy's the CEO of Savannah Street.
All of his important records.
He is a marketing genius. He helps build the careers of artists. Yeah. A great producer. He's probably been, 25 years?
Yeah.
Right? He didn't want me to say these names, but this guy, over his tenure, has worked with artists like Maxi Priest, Dennis Green. His big one is Mike Deco coming up, just crazy. Stokely from Mint. Lots of Grammy nominated and Grammy artists. This brother is a real great brother. We play soccer here in where we live. I'm going to tell you guys that because some of you from all over the planet. So Obi, this is the 1.7 podcast, and here is where we talk about the truth, the things that creatives don't usually want to talk about. So say what's up to our listeners.
Yo, what's up, listeners? I'm happy to be here. 1.7, I would like to know what that name is all about, but it's all good. Let's roll.
So he knows, man. So here's the name. So the name came from a lens that I got.
Okay.
So the lens is 1.7 aperture.
Yes.
And aperture has to do with how much light you can let in.
Absolutely.
So what we're trying to do in this podcast is just to let in the light.
Okay.
Right. We as a CEO ourselves, myself and you. We work and we enjoy our work, and then we see a lot of young creatives. Yeah. And this is what we want to talk about. What is it that we can do to inspire young creatives?
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm gonna ask this question.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the vision for Savannah Street.
Very simple. I do one thing. I help artists accomplish their goals. That's really what I do. Yeah. And so that could entail anything. It could entail music production. It could entail deal making. It could entail mixing. It could entail artist marketing. Anything. An artist comes to me and we have a conversation, and I simply help them accomplish their goals.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask this question. Let's jump straight to it. Artist comes to you, helps you accomplish their goals. That's like a client. Let's say artist is a client.
Yes,
so me as a video producer, I got clients all the time. They come in and say, okay, this is what we need to do. Mm-hmm. Cool. How seamless has that process become for you over 20 plus 5 years?
Seamless. I'm not sure I understand that question. If you could rephrase it. Seamless, I mean, some artists are, every artist is unique. Yeah. Some artists require different skills to make it happen. But what do you mean by seamless?
Like process. So we all come up with a process.
Yes.
So over the time,
I do have a process.
Over the time, how seamless has your process become? Because sometimes artists, they're the most difficult. To say, okay, this is how we're gonna get from here to here.
Yes.
And you're the guy that's drawing up the map in some regards.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about how that process is. Is it an easy process? Yeah. Do you have to rework with some artists? How does that pan out?
It's a tricky process sometimes. Okay, so essentially my process is, I meet somebody somewhere, or somebody introduces me to somebody, or whether it's an artist, a company, or mostly word of mouth or referrals. Mm-hmm. So I meet with the artist. We're sitting down in the studio, and I just want in that particular first meeting, I just want to find out what their vision for themselves is. Yeah. What is your vision for yourself? Some people have one. Some people have a defined vision. Some people don't have any vision.
Yes.
And I also want to find out what is their talent. Some people are great vocalists. Mm-hmm. Some people are great songwriters. Some people are great dancers, great stage performers, you know, and I also want to find out what are their insecurities. You know, some people are insecure about being on stage. They really get really nervous about it. Some people are don't have enough studio experience, so they're insecure about recording their songs. Some people are insecure about writing the lyrics they really want to write. So they might be from a church background and they feel that if they write certain things, they're going to get judged by. So in the first meeting, it's just what I call a discovery meeting.
That's a good word.
I also want to find out, you know, what is their budgetary concerns. Or so the first meeting is 100% discovery. And once I do my discovery, then I go into, okay, my brain, since I've worked with hundreds of artists, I can say, okay, cool. I've now discovered who they are, and then I can make a suggestion to them on what direction they should go in.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, nightmares around that process. You come across artists who's like, nah. Excuse me.
Well, 90% of the artists don't want to do what I suggest they do.
Yeah. Case in point.
You know, 90%. You know, but that's for various different reasons. There's so many reasons why an artist might not want to do what you suggest they do. Most of the time, people just in general want to what I call date up.
Brought that red pill, green pill stuff, blue pill.
They want to date up. So when they meet a producer who's not Puff Daddy, it's like, you know, I don't want to date on my level. I want to date up.
Yeah. That's funny.
You see what I'm saying?
That's a good way to put
it. But not realizing that water finds its own level. Water doesn't move up. Water finds its own level. So, so the first thing I have to surpass is explaining to them that, hey, you know, you might be talented, you might even be financially capable of doing a bunch of things, but that doesn't mean anything to me or the world that you're trying to get into. You know, you have to go through these steps to get to where you're going to go to. But most artists don't realize that there are a bunch of steps that they got to go. They want to walk into a studio and essentially, for lack of a better word, use whatever the tools are and walk out Michael Jackson.
Yeah. So there is a what's the word? False sense of reality.
Yes, absolute false sense of reality.
So you think that's most artists?
90% of the artists.
I was just going to ask you what 90%. Percentage of artists has some delusion.
Well, at least 90%.
Let me sit there with that for a minute.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that word. Let's talk about the word delusion. Okay. So let me push back.
Yes.
Let me push back. And I would say, isn't it the delusion that causes artists to be great?
Yes. Some delusion is important. And some naivete is important.
Okay.
However, there has to be some kind of a check and balance. Otherwise, the delusion can get 100% out of control, where you're essentially living in a bubble that you think is reality, but it's not.
So, a certain level of delusion is necessary. But
to be successful, yes.
Okay, so the naivety, I mean, woo. So the naivety is it fair to say that most artists are going to be naive in terms of their dreams? And do they really need?
It's tricky because it requires a healthy balance, because sometimes I meet some artists that are too knowledgeable and the knowledge prevents them from accomplishing their goals also. So sometimes you can be too knowledgeable, and then that creates a situation where you become mechanical. You have to be fluid like water to accomplish your goals. You know, you set goals, but you got to be fluid within that to be able to know when to make adjustments.
Let me ask this question.
Yeah.
So in your business,
Yeah.
how much of success is artistry and how much of it is pragmatism?
I've always said that there are 5 important things every single artist needs to have.
Yeah.
I have several different lists, but there are definitely 5 different things that every successful artist needs to have in different proportions.
Mm-hmm.
But these 5 elements need to be there somewhere. You want me to tell you what they are?
Yeah. I'm open, man. The world's waiting to find out what they are.
Okay. So first, before I tell you what those 5 elements are, I need to tell you what the 3 elements that every successful artist definitely has. Mm-hmm. Okay. So every successful artist has, and I'm talking about musicians, artists, the recording artists, they have good songs, good imaging, and some kind of good live representation. They all have those 3 elements.
You mean a live show?
Live show, live representation. Some kind of method to connect with their audience. Yeah, that is effective connecting with their audience. Mm-hmm. Most cases it's live, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. It could be through some social media vehicle. Yeah. But there has to be a way to connect the consumer to the music. Yeah. And then you have to have the talent, and then you have to have some kind of brand that is relevant to the consumer. Mm-hmm. So those 3 elements, every artist that's successful, every single artist that's successful in the market today has those 3 elements. Yeah. Good music. Doesn't have to be great music. Yeah. It has to be good music. In some cases, it could be bad music, but they have to have music. Yeah. Then they have to have a brand, and they have to have a method of connecting with their audience. Okay. So you have that, and then so that's everything. Everybody has to have that. Now, but having those doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be successful if you have those 3 things. Yeah. Then a few other things that you got to add to that to kind of ensure success, and that's perseverance. You have to really set goals and accomplish them over a period of time, because you don't know when the success is going to come. It could come 6 months in, it could come 6 years in. But if you don't continue if you're not continuous, then you're going to stop and go.
Yeah, that's interesting. Hold on, let me pause you for a second. Yeah. So, excuse me. That's interesting. Yeah. It could come 6 months in.
Or 6 years in.
Or 6 years in. What about 6 days in?
That's possible too. Yeah. Because nowadays you can put out a video and it goes viral, and but that now if that happens, that brings in the 5th element that you must have. There has to be some form of grounding. If without grounding, then if you get 6 days in, you're going to go crazy, and you're going to lose it in another 6 days.
Sounds familiar. Yeah, sounds familiar. Yeah. So that's interesting. So just for viewers. Yeah. So there is some pragmatism in there. And the pragmatism is you've got to see it. You've got to have some level of groundedness and clarity in terms of the process versus being a good artist. And I would.
And grounding, there are different kinds of grounding, and the things I said are very general. Yeah, we can go into those points and be real specific with them, but it's very general. So grounding could be spiritual grounding. Yeah. It could be clarity in vision. It could be clarity in purpose. Yeah, it could be all of those kind of things.
So I'm thinking clarity in purpose. Because most artists. Yeah. Let's say a young artist here listening to this podcast, right? There's no way And this is why we do this.
Yeah.
There's no way that you'll know what you don't know, because the journey ahead of you've never really been there. Right? The journey ahead of you've never really been there.
Yeah.
But at least what some of the things that we're talking about here is probably to share some words and to share some insight that you probably never heard about. And maybe most artists never even heard about the word pragmatism.
Yeah, yeah.
You see?
I just heard about it today.
You see what I'm saying? Right. So what does that really mean? I guess that you just have to be realist about it. So for you in your role, you talk about naivety.
Yeah.
And a lot of artists just really don't know. I know as a young artist, you really didn't know. You didn't really know what to expect. And I think in your business, the importance of it as a career director, if I could use that term.
Yeah, that's a good term. Yeah.
Is more than just the getting the song, because it takes so much in the process.
Yeah.
So what would you say to get artists to? What would be the coffee to get some artists that's kind of delusional to say, man, woof, I need to wake up and I need to probably count the cost. I need to find somebody like Ben Obi to help me realistically count the cost that is going to take for me to have a shot.
So is the question how to prevent artists from being delusional?
I guess let's go there.
Okay.
What's the level of realism that an artist needs to have? Because I think just conversation alone is like, oh.
To some degree, I don't want an artist to really be completely realistic, because I think that could be a deterrent to creativity. I think they should dream. Artists should dream a lot. But I think the answer to your question is find somebody that has qualities that you don't have. And match up with people that don't have the things no one person can do everything. So if I'm great at being a dreamer, or I'm great at writing and singing, then you need to find somebody that you can team up with that might be great at business. You just need to find teams, and nothing is perfect. So even if you find somebody that has qualities that you don't have, it's okay if you get disappointed. If we play soccer, if you get kicked and you fall down, what do? Do you stay on the ground crying?
You roll to the sidelines.
You get up. So it's basically don't be a baby. Find other people that have different qualities and match up with those people. If it doesn't work out, it's no big deal. Just try again and keep on trying. That's perseverance. You keep on trying until it works. If you need to pivot, you pivot. But you must have clarity and purpose and perseverance.
Let me ask this question. Like in all business, in videography. Right? Yeah, and that creative lane, videography, photography, it's a industry that what you would have, it provides for a lot of people what you would consider to be in an ease of access, right?
Yes.
So if you haven't been like myself, years in it, you could probably roll out of bed in college, get a camera,
right, and you're on,
and then suddenly you're a photographer.
Yes,
so then
exactly.
you're a videographer. It's kind of like the ease of access.
Yes.
And I've seen it in my business where I was like, where did these guys come from in the market?
Yeah.
Right, and then you look at where they are. They had more so access to capital. Where some groups of people don't have.
Yes. Okay.
So the question would be, how much does access, right, have an impact on artists getting where they need to get to?
Well, I'm a firm believer that money chases talent. Talent should not chase money. That's another. I have a lot of principles.
So money chases talent.
Yes, exactly. Money chases talent.
So let me say. If you're an artist and 6 days pass, it didn't hit. 6 weeks it ain't hit, according to you. 6 months it ain't hit. Maybe what? You ain't got the talent? What are you saying? If the money ain't coming.
So what's the question there? What was the question?
Well, you said money chases talent,
yes, exactly,
right? So you said money chases talent.
Yes,
so my question would be, we talked about it'll take 6 weeks, 6 months, right? And where I'm going to is because there may be some economic differences in play. Yeah. Right. Okay. So I mean, we've heard this before. Somebody found the right person and they just got the money, and then you have a big artist, and the artist is like so, but they're up there. So my question is, how much access has to do with the money that you could come in? Somebody could find you. Hey, I got my son here. He plays little guitar. He's okay, but they got the money.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, money is an important factor to accomplish any goal. That's one of the tools to accomplish your goal. So, but I've been in several situations where there's been millions of dollars, and that doesn't necessarily guarantee success. It can help sustain. It can help sustain you. So, for instance, if you have somebody that has lesser talent, but has the money, then the money can sustain that person. But once that money dries out, they're just going to fall back down. But if you believe that money chases talent, if the talent is there and you attach the money to it, then with the other factors that I talked about, it's gonna have a chance of sustaining for a much longer time, even if the money is not there.
Yeah. All right. So story time.
Yeah.
What is the worst situation?
Worst situation. I mean, I've been in too many situations to go ahead. What's the question
that you've ever been in? Like one that failed horribly. No names or nothing, but but
a situation that you got to give me more.
I got to give you more.
No, give me more.
The artist hated the record.
Okay.
It broke. The relationship broke. Or the artist.
Well, I've had many of those.
Well, let's talk about that. Maybe that's part of the process too.
So okay. So we talked about being delusional. Yeah. I've experienced a lot of situations where somebody thinks they can sing. Yeah. And they come into the studio, and I'm the first one to tell them that they can't sing.
Oh, those. So, like Ryan Daniels.
No. And so they've never heard that they can't sing before.
Seriously, never heard it.
Or if they've heard it, they haven't heard it raw. Yeah. They've heard it with a lot of honey on top of it. Yeah. And all of a sudden, you got some strange guy that is not catering to your feelings, telling you some stuff that, for one, you're not even sure you believe. Yeah. But for some reason, he keeps on telling you to do it over again. No, to do it over. And it's like, at some point, you're like, well, am I doing it over because I don't sound good?
And you've had to tell, you have to.
Yeah, there's people have cried in the studio. Woo. People have quit, like literally left my studio and never done music again. People have threatened me. Yeah. A few women have had their boyfriends come in the recording booth and sit with them in the recording booth and hold them and caress their hands while they're recording, so that they can feel comforted. Hold on. Don't go through. I've had people take off their clothes in the booth just because they feel that they need to be naked. That's gonna make them feel more comfortable.
To bring the real.
Yeah, or they lying on the ground. Man.
He's like, man, you don't even know half.
It's no big deal at this point.
Yeah. So you've had to go through and observe a whole plethora of just crazy artist stuff.
Man, there's so many situations that I can't even remember them all. Yeah. Can't even remember them all. I've had situations where, people have not shown up because they're. Or I've had a situation. I just remember the situation where I was in my studio. There was a guy and a girl. The girl was a songwriter. The guy was an artist. And they had decided that she was going to sing on this particular song that she had co-written with him. And then she comes in and she gets so nervous that she basically pretty much almost fainted. And so the session was spent kind of, she was like,
yeah.
We spent the time, just kind of calming her down and just dealing with her anxiety.
Man, crazy.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, this week.
Yeah.
I was talking to an artist on the phone. Everything I'm telling you is 100% true. I was talking to an artist on the phone, and they're an artist located in a different area than we are.
Yeah.
So they had to send me the files that I did the track, and they were going to send me the files. And this song happened to be in 3/4 time.
Yeah.
A lot of songs are in 4/4 time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
yeah.
And so I was giving her some technical instructions as to how she needed to make sure that just different things were in place, so that when she sends me the file, it's going to be easier for me to import it into my system.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Stop! I can feel my anxiety coming. I don't know anything about this technical stuff. Can we talk about this later?" So that was this week.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are all kinds of situations.
It's
it's an uncountable situation.
Yeah, it's
yeah. And but there's the flip side of that too. I've worked with people that are incredible. I mean, there's no such thing as a situation where you don't encounter some difficult. I think encountering some challenges is a good thing because it just strengthens you and makes you, even an artist in the booth challenging themselves, and that's important. Yeah, so I've encountered a lot of that where there's a challenge and we overcome it and we're happy at the end with the results. That's 99% of the time is that we encounter a challenge and we overcome it. But there are hundreds of situations where things have gone wacky.
Yeah. So right now, you just did a release.
Yeah.
Right? It was a CD listening party.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
For one of your artists.
Yes.
And you've got some stuff coming up. You want to share with our viewers because some people might be over there in where you're going and they might want to.
Are we mentioning countries because is this a secret location or something?
No. Yeah, you could go through.
Yes, I just I think I decided at the beginning of this podcast I didn't want to mention any artist names.
Yeah.
But I work with artists in Nigeria, Africa, in other countries in Africa too, but a lot of artists in Nigeria. I work with artists in the UK. I got a lot of artists I work with in the UK, London specifically, but a few of them are outside London. And I got people I'm working with in New York, LA, and the Minneapolis area. And with regards to the Minneapolis area, there is no other producer in the Minneapolis area that has worked with, whether it's like negotiating deals for, working in the studio as an engineer, mixing songs, producing songs, developing artists, consulting with artists. There's no other producer in the Twin Cities that's worked with more African American, Caribbean, and so forth artists than
Absolutely, 100%. I thought you said you weren't going to brag. That's a big brag.
I didn't mention anybody's name. I'm just
That's a big credit.
That's more of a fact.
Yeah, that's true. That's good, and that's great. That's great. You're definitely providing that market. With and even though it's a diverse community, what about some of those other communities like some like Hmong communities, Somali communities? You finding artists like those coming over?
I work with a lot of Ethiopian artists, but that's including the African. Most of the Africans that have been in the Twin Cities that are serious about music, in some way, find their way to me, and we talk about it and we do stuff. Same thing with the Caribbeans. Same thing with African Americans. Very few African Americans in the Twin Cities have not in some way worked with me, whether it's engineering, mixing, artist development, artist negotiation, working with them on booking a gig, merchandise, referring them to somebody, making connections. Everything entertainment. Yeah.
So, and you're doing something in London that's coming up.
Yeah, right? I've been working in London since the 90s.
Okay.
The first artist I worked with in London, I guess I have to mention his name.
He's like, I don't want to mention him.
Yeah, was Alexander O'Neill.
He was. That's a big name.
He was big in the 90s, and
that's a big name.
Since then, I've been working with artists in the 90s.
That's a
and working with artists over there and over here.
So tell us about what's going on in London this time.
Okay. So working with we're doing a few shows. In London. And there's showcases. So one thing I like to do is bring artists from the United States and expose them to an audience in different markets. So I think it's been really effective over the years to take R&B artists or even Afrobeat artists or just urban artists and bring them over to the UK or Europe in general, because I've done stuff in Germany, Switzerland, stuff like that. So just bring artists over there and expose them to new markets. So we're doing a few showcases in the UK and in Paris, and so I'm bringing some artists with me to do that. Yeah,
that's very cool. Savannah Street showcases, huh?
Yeah. Well, they're not. Well, they're Savannah Street in collaboration with other companies that I work with out there. Yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah. So hit us up with your Instagram.
Oh.
How can we find you? So those of you who want to hit him up, go into his DMs and he'll be like, nah.
It's at Savannah Street Music. Savannah is spelled SAVANNAH Street Music. Street spelled out STREET Music MUSIC. Savannah Street Music. At Savannah Street Music is
and that's Instagram.
That's Instagram.
That's Savannah Street.
That's where I am most of the time.
Yeah. So man, I appreciate you coming on and just enlightening us and just taking your time and share your vast expertise. Any parting words of exhortation and encouragement with not just musicians or musical artists, but just artists in general?
Find your purpose, man. Sometimes it's hard to find your purpose. Sometimes there's so many distractions in life. Life is always trying to distract us and keep us away from our purpose. But I promise you, if you find your purpose, it will take care of the bottom line.
Interesting.
If you take care of the top line, the bottom line will take care of itself.
That's good. That's good. So pretty much how I'm hearing that is if you trust the Lord, then
take care of the top line.
Take care of the top line,
the bottom line,
and the bottom line. That's good. You heard it.
But it's tough to do that.
You take care of the top line.
You gotta be.
I think it's a good one. Of the good things you shared is that water finds its level.
Yes.
Right? So there's a lot of anxiety. As we talked about that.
Water finds its level, but artists want water to go up. Water doesn't go up.
I think anxiety manifests itself in different ways too. Different people. Some people can handle it. Some people shut down. Some people ramp up. So brother, thank you. Savannah Street. Savannah Street's in the house. Ben Obi.
We out.
Thank you for tuning in to the 1.7 podcast. We really do appreciate you taking your time out of your day to give us a listen, and we do hope that you really got something today out of the conversation. Be sure to follow us. We definitely want to be friends over at Instagram at Zandley Media. Until next time, keep creating.
Right.